Virginia, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I
Okay,
can.
thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Now I can. Before I could not hear anything.
All right. The February 26, 2024 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will now come to order. Oh, now I bang the gavel. Sorry about that. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Bonnick. Ms. Bonnick is present. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman is present. Chairwoman Hughes Smith.
Here.
Chairwoman Hughes Smith is present. Mr. Mafucci. Mr. Mafucci is present. Ms. McIntyre.
Present.
Ms. McIntyre is present. Mr. Morris. Mr. Morris is present. Mr. Sinclair. Mr. Sinclair is present.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing no one, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the January 22nd, 2024 minutes of the Environment and Public Works Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 24-0056, authorize the alteration of Rochester Pure Waters District sewer assets by the New York State Department of Transportation during the New York Route 104 from Lake Avenue to Culver Road project in the city of Rochester.
Moved by legislator Mafucci, seconded by legislator Bonnick. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Referral number 24-0058, increase and improvement of facilities in the Rochester Pure Waters District, amend the 2024-2029 capital improvement project program and 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled Rochester Pure Waters District Frank E. Van Laer Wastewater Treatment Plant Electrical System Improvement. Amend bond resolution 216 of 2021 to provide an increase in funding and authorize financing for the project.
Moved by legislator Mafucci, seconded by legislator Bonnick. Is there any discussion? Legislator Morris.
To Madam Chair, to the administration, when is this project expected to be completed?
Through the chair, February of 2026.
I yield.
One else? Myself, to the administration, could you elaborate on these backup generators, how they're powered? Are they new or old, or are they new or are they replacements? And what impact it will have on the greenhouse gas emissions from the facility?
To the chair, these are new generators, and they're part of the recent Van Laer Electrical Improvements Project that your honorable body approved at approximately $21 million. And as part of that project, we anticipated the potential for future backup generators that would be permanent fixed backup generators. We have had power outages over the past 10 years, approximately 7 power outages, where we've had to roll in generators to operate the plant. This will provide a significant amount of resiliency, reliability, and safety for what will be a very seamless transition to backup power when it's required at Van Laer. These generators will only operate when utility power is absent. They're there specifically for emergency backup power. It will also allow us to utilize the other generators that we've been using to date in other locations around the county if there is, widespread event where we need backup power. So we're particularly excited about this project. It's the first time we've secured a federal construction grant since the tunnels were built, and it will cover 90% of the cost of these generators. Again, it will maximize our reliability, our resiliency to be able to run the plant 24/7 when utility power is not available. We've selected diesel-powered engines. They provide the highest efficiency in terms of horsepower and technological reliability. We have a lot of experience operating and maintaining diesel generators. They're very efficient, much more efficient than a natural gas generator in terms of power output. And we did look at natural gas. We looked at propane as well. But with natural gas, we're relying on a utility to deliver the fuel when needed. With diesel, we can store that fuel on site. And with diesel engines, they can accept full load within 10 seconds of start. So we have the ability to get the plant operational, maintain the plant's operation when there is a utility outage. And there's automatic transfer switches, so it protects the operators and our electricians when that utility power is called upon. So in terms of impact to, say, greenhouse gas emissions, because these are emergency generators, they are regulated in a manner that they can only be used for that purpose. We can operate them for a certain number of hours per year for maintenance activities only, but we cannot use them for anything but standby use when utility power is absent. So the greenhouse gas impact is, I would say, small because they're only used when and where needed. And the intent is for short duration periods to be able to keep the plant operational and allow us to maintain our regulatory obligations of treating water through Van Laer.
Okay, thank you so much for the thorough response. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0060, amend the 2024 capital budget and bond resolution 442 of 2021 to provide an increase in funding and authorize a contract with CHA Consulting Incorporated for design services for the runway 4-22 connector taxiways project at the Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport.
Moved by legislator Mafucci, seconded by legislator Bonnick. Is there any discussion?
Through the chair.
Yep. Senator
Sorry.
McIntyre.
Through the chair. When is this project expected to be completed by, and will it affect air traffic landing times or cause any delays?
Through the chair, Andy Moore, Director of Aviation. Per the FAA, the design and engineering is scheduled for 2024. And as of today, this is looking to be a 2025 project. It will not impact any aviation activities.
Thank you. I yield.
To the administration, is this project expanding any of the runways or just rebuilding what is currently in existence?
Through the chair, rebuilding what currently is in existence.
Thank you. And I noted there was some information regarding stormwater drainage. Where is that material draining to? Does it go to a treatment facility?
Through the chair, the airport on the north ramp, the commercial ramp, has 2 de-icing pads. That's where the glycol is released for de-icing of aircraft. The airport, with close working relationship of DES, basically turns off the catch basin valves on those 2 de-icing pads. So there is no release of de-icing fluid into the stormwater collection system. So ultimately what we end up doing is we have 2 vac trucks approved through the FAA and paid through FAA grants that go out there during de-icing and basically suck up the de-icing fluid and then take that fluid over to the de-icing tanks. We have two 60,000 gallon de-icing tanks on the airport. They deposit those into the tanks, and then ultimately working with DES, that liquid is sent through a pump station up to Van Leer treatment plant, for treatment itself. So that is coordinated with DES pending measurements and flows of liquids going into Van Leer as they have a controlled mechanism to clean the de-icing fluid.
Great, thank you very much. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0061. Classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State of Environmental Quality Review Act for the airport electrification and carbon emission reduction project at the Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport.
Moved by legislator Mafucci, seconded by legislator Bonick. Any discussion? Okay, to the administration. It's great referral, excited to see it. It looks like the infrastructure, you're creating some electric infrastructure to transition away from fossil fueled equipment. What's the plan for replacing the equipment?
Through the chair, so this grant was a 2023 New York State Aviation Capital Grant that we are awarded basically $1.1 million with a matching grant of around 500,000 from the Airport Authority. I wouldn't say that we're replacing anything. We're adding to the infrastructure of the airport. And when I mean adding to the infrastructure, for instance, right now we have 6 operational passenger shuttles, 14 passengers per shuttle. These are the shuttles that move passengers from a revenue generating parking location to the terminal and vice versa. We're looking to add 2 electric shuttles to that. So we're adding to our existing inventory. And then also we're adding to existing passenger charging stations. This grant includes 18 new charging stations throughout our parking lots at the airport to include employee parking and the cell lot, in addition, charging station to the cell lot, and also in the garage, short-term parking, long-term parking, and weekly parking. So it's adding to existing infrastructure, not necessarily replacing.
Thank you for that clarification. And the types of chargers, are all of them going to be level 2s, or will there be any level 3 chargers?
Through the chair, as of right now, we are looking at kind of a combination of both. We have, for instance, in the employee parking, we've got set for level 2 charging stations. The visitors, which is kind of the hourly lot, we have level 2 charging stations. And then the passenger weekly lot, we have level 2 charging stations. And in the garage, we have level 2 charging stations. And then in the smartphone lot, it looks like we have just the normal level 1 charging station, although these can change depending on price points and costs of the bids and the bids coming back, what those costs would be. So we have the flexibility to kind of help massage that a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for that clarity. Level 1 is kind of like what you have in your own house. So I would hope that the cell phone lot would at least be a level 2. So hopefully you can make some adjustments there. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0062, amend the 2024-2029 capital improvement program and the 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled. Yep, that is, okay. Sorry, 24-0063, amend the 20,
No, you got to read.
Oh.
You have to read the 62.
yes, that's the one. Oh, okay, I thought you told me it was the wrong one, okay. 24-0062, amend the 2024-2029 capital improvement program and the 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled Airport Electrification and Carbon Emission Reduction Project at the Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport. Authorize financing for the project and authorize a grant agreement with New York State for aid relating to the project.
Moved by legislator Mufucci, seconded by legislator Bonick. Is there any discussion?
Through the chair, I'd like to ask that you refer this to the Climate Action Plan Committee to review prior to us taking action. And their review should include specific goals and plans, lifetime costs, and what specific vehicles are being converted.
Yes, through you to the administration.
I'm sorry, could the legislator please repeat their question or request?
Sure. Through the chair, I'd like to ask that you refer this to the Climate Action Plan Committee to review prior to us taking action. Their review should include specific goals and plans, lifetime costs, and what specific vehicles are being converted.
So the request is to the chair to refer it to the administration or to the Climate Action Plan.
Oh, sorry.
Um, I don't understand why we would need to refer it. It's not replacing any vehicle.
Yes. I'm going.
Sorry, so through the chair, then can you provide an overview of what this will entail? What specific goals are in mind? What vehicles are being converted?
Well, I think the administration just explained the project in answer to my last question. Would you like them to review it? They're adding an electric charging station for a shuttle bus.
I guess I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Madam Chair. I guess my position would be that, we have a Climate Action Plan Committee. This is something that, certainly this committee, I think we would be interested in hearing their opinion on it and thoughts about it in support of us, giving consideration to it, once referred and reviewed and commented back.
I guess my question is, that seems outside the charge of the Climate Action Plan Advisory Committee. I know we've done it before, but it seemed outside of our charge then as well. So I guess my question to the administration would be, is this an appropriate use of the Climate Action Plan Advisory Committees, whose role it is to develop the climate action plan, not to comment on legislative action? It's not a committee of the legislature.
Through the chair, the Climate Action Committee has already provided their recommendation, so this would be a redundancy that we don't think is necessary.
So again, through you, Madam Chair, so the Climate Action Plan Committee has reviewed this,
So
what we're being told, and if so, is there a report or a briefing or anything like that then?
the,
If I may, respectfully offer that the purview really of the Climate Action Plan is really to develop the plan and for the departments to implement. And so they have not been tasked, really authorized to evaluate individual projects that may be recommended. They've identified projects, made recommendations for the county to implement. Electrifying vehicles is one of them broadly for county departments, but have not are not in a capacity to evaluate projects on an individual basis per se. The remaining tasks are to finalize a climate action plan phase 2, which is a community-wide plan.
And I guess then just to follow up, if this isn't going to be referred, so this specific was not reviewed by the Climate Action Plan Committee, like this specific item?
Through the chair, that is correct. They haven't reviewed this specific project only because these projects are an outcome from the Climate Action Plan Phase 1, which identified electrifying vehicles, the county's fleet vehicles. So that could pertain to airport, DES, human services. So we are implementing their recommendations, and this would be a project that I would say is a recommendation that came out of Phase 1 for county operations. But I know the director would be happy to provide more details if there are specific questions you have.
And I guess just to follow up, and if this was already through you, Madam Chair, to the administration, if this was already shared, then I apologize. But just to follow up on the question asked by my colleague, what vehicles are we talking about? Are there goals set forth that there will be measurable outcomes for? Like what vehicles are being converted? I guess if we could get some detailed information on that, then please.
Through the chair, this grant includes, as of today, 2 shuttle buses that the airport uses for passengers going from the long-term shuttle lot to the terminal, and then from the terminal back to the long-term shuttle lot. So we're looking to add to our existing fleet 2 electric shuttle buses for passenger use. In addition, the second part of this grant is to add to our parking lots at the airport, up to 18 new charging stations for vehicles that are parked there, not only for passengers that are flying through the airport, but also for employees that work at the airport. And then also a couple charging stations in the cell lot for individuals waiting to pick people up that are flying into Rochester.
Is there any other discussion?
Excuse me,
Yes.
I'm
let's-
sorry. It's odd being on Zoom through the chair. I understand the climate action plan pretty well and the way that it affects grants in New York State. Would adding these charging stations and electrifying these particular buses, aside from the grant that we would be receiving for the project, would that put us in line for future grants from New York State for these specific related projects when we get to phase 2 of the climate action plan? Is that part of the reason that we are doing this? Through the chair, to clarify, I'm asking if there is an extra benefit to this.
Yeah, they're discussing.
Through the chair, the short answer is yes. It will help us in our climate smart communities certification. And projects like this will add to the level of certification that we're pursuing. And by doing that, will ultimately be an advantage to pursuing grants in the future.
Okay, so through the chair, because this is a $501,000 project, what you're saying is that there will be a benefit for our taxpayers above and beyond just the reduction of emissions?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Okay. I yield.
Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Referral 24-0063. amend the 2024 to 2029 capital improvement program and 2024 capital budget to add a project entitled Acquire/Replace Rescue Firefighting Safety Vehicle R3 at the Frederick Douglass Greater Rochester International Airport. Authorize financing for the project and authorize a contract with CNS Engineers, Inc. for design services for the project.
Moved by legislator Mafucci, seconded by legislator Bonnet. Is there any discussion? Legislator Morris.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, to the administration. The 30,000 in design services, why is that necessary? And is that a requirement or is it recommended by the department?
Through the chair, it is strongly encouraged by the airport to have a certified engineering firm who is accustomed and experienced in putting together these types of documents that ultimately will go out to bid, throughout the country. I would also add to it that the FAA is consistently changing their requirements for a lot of things at airports, including ARF-related equipment, and the engineering firm that has been selected, CNS Engineers, has a lot of experience with putting out documents and putting out bids for ARF trucks, and certainly would do it in a professional manner and an accurate manner per FAA standards.
Just to follow up then, so is the belief then that this couldn't be done in-house?
Through the chair, I would prefer as airport director that it does not be in-house. First, we don't have the expertise to put these types of documents together. And second, with the $32 million airport renovation and revitalization project going on right now, my staff is working very diligently to make sure that we're hitting state required timelines and timetables and other elements to that project, which quite honestly will be starting here within the next week or two. So having a certified engineering company with experience in what the FAA requires in their bids and what they don't require, and experience in putting these documents together through the county procurement process is well worth the cost of $28,300.
Yield.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Referral 24-0071, designation to serve as lead agency, classification of action and determination of significance pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act for capacity improvements, multi-use trail, and pedestrian accommodations for the East River Road project in the town of Henrietta.
Moved by legislator Mafucci, seconded by legislator Bonnet. Is there any discussion? To the administration, is any part of this project designated in the active transportation plan?
Through the chair, no, I do not believe so. There are some maps in there that show some locations of preferred areas of bike lanes, but this road is not on one of them.
So if you could forward it to us, the maps, they were not in the referral packet.
Sure, the maps I'm referring to are actually in the active transportation plan.
But this project isn't a part of the active transportation plan, is what you just told me. Is that correct?
Through the chair, yes.
So can you provide maps of this project for us to look at, please?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. I was glad to see that there was going to be adding or improving bike and pedestrian accommodations, which is why I would like to take a look at those drawings. Does anyone else have any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before the committee? There being no other matters, the February 26, 2024 meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Environment and Public Works Committee will be held on Monday, March 25th, 2024 at 5:15 p.m.